too loud now.
Hello. We're live.
Hello. Welcome to the Downsized. We finally figured out how to use this.
Well, you're standing on the cord, babe.
I'm
me that,
standing
please.
on it. What am I standing on?
Thank you.
Hello. Welcome to the Downsized Live. Thank you for waiting on us. We had a few moments of technical difficulties for which I apologize. I hate to be late, so that was unexpected. So thank you for hanging with us. My name's Lorraine Durham. I'm here with my husband of 23 years, Christopher Durham. We're the Downsized. We talk about weight loss with GLP-1 medications. And this is our weekly live show where we take some questions from the audience. But today we have a very special live show because we have a panel, a panel of experts, if you will, a panel of people, wait a minute, who have all lost weight with a GLP-1 medication, at all ranges of weights, right? All ranges of weights. And I think they've all been on these medications at least a year, if not longer. Okay, so we'll get to them in a minute. Do you want to say anything?
I'm just talking to myself. Thank you.
As per usual.
Me and JoJo are hanging out. Why don't we introduce everybody and we'll pull them up on stage.
All right, let's bring them to the stage. Yay! So here in our panel of experts, first we have, it's like the Brady Bunch. We have It's Darium. Welcome, Darium. Welcome, Darium, to the Downsized. Darium, tell us a quick little something about yourself.
Hi, it's Darium. I'm here from the messy middle side of the world, and I just came in to say, hey, hi, hello.
All right, awesome. And then on the other side of Darium, we have Dennis. Dennis, my YouTube son. Introduce yourself.
Hi, Dennis Sheridan, longtime viewer of the Downsized, and sometimes associate producer.
Can they hear them?
I think he's executive associate producer.
I can't hear them.
That means it's doing weird things here.
Wait a minute.
Can you hear? Okay, let's try Mindy now.
Hello? Yes?
Oh, that's better. And next we have Mindy, the mayor of GLP-1 Town. Welcome, Mayor Mindy. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, I am the mayor. Thank you. Hello to all of my constituents. We figured out this week that that's what my people are, my constituents. Yes. So hello, I'm Mindy. I've lost over 100 pounds on Mounjaro. I have type 2 diabetes, as well as the disease of obesity. So I say I have diabesity.
Diabesity. You heard it here first, folks, or maybe you heard it first from Mindy, as I did. And then we have Michelle. Hello, Michelle. Welcome to the Downsized.
Hi, everyone. I just noticed I'm the only one without a nickname. I feel, we have King Darium, we have your son, we have the mayor. I'm also a longtime viewer of the Downsized. I've been on GLP since December 2024. I have enjoyed the last week with all of these people, and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Cool. Well, thanks, guys.
Also, in case you didn't get it, what they all have in common is they were in Orlando with us at Obesity Week, at the Obesity Action Coalition's Your Weight Matters conference. We had hoped to be able to to do lives from there and kind of recap the days and tell you what we learned and all sorts of things like that. Unfortunately, we had the worst internet known to man, even though it still cost me a lot of money. And that wasn't a possibility. So we wanted to get everybody together, or not everybody, but a group together to chat. I think it's a good cross section with different experience sets. Mindy, Darium, did you say you're a weight loss?
No, I'm sorry. I'm currently as of today, I am now 9% down from my starting weight. So about 37 pounds.
And so how long has it taken you, Darium?
I started on March 9th, 2024. So about 2.5 years.
So for those of you out there who have said, where's the slow losers? I want the turtles. Meet Darium.
Hi, I'm Darium. I'm not even a turtle. I'm an elephant. Buckle up. We're just trucking along.
And Dennis is the other end of the spectrum. So,
Yeah.
Dennis,
Dennis is a super responder.
how much have you lost, Dennis?
Yeah, so I lost 180 pounds in 15 months. So I started in August of 2024, and I hit maintenance last November. And
So-
have been maintaining for the last 9 months or so.
And then I know Darium and Mindy both have type 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Darium, it's managing your type 2 pretty well for you, though?
Yes, it is. And it's, I mean, my A1C is amazing. It took me to get to 15 milligrams to get it under control, but it is under control. My doctor and I, we are high-fiving and blood is going everywhere, but we're good.
Blood is going everywhere.
That sounds rough, Darium.
What does that mean?
It's okay.
Well, so for those of you who weren't with us last week,
Well, you didn't say anything. You let Michelle tell hers.
Oh, I'm sorry, Michelle. Go ahead.
Oh, I am down about 150 pounds, a little higher right now, just because of Obesity Week. I gained weight.
That's kind of funny.
It is.
I gained weight going to
During
Obesity
Obesity
conference.
Week, so I'm trying to lose that. About 55% of my body weight.
Yeah. And Mindy, I'm not sure if we said yours. I don't want to leave you out.
Oh, yeah, no, I said, I lost about 108 pounds on Manjaro in about 15 months. And my A1C went from 10.9 to now 4.5.
Awesome. Awesome.
Well, very
Oh,
good.
cool.
So last week all of us were in Orlando, Florida for the Obesity Action Coalition's Your Weight Matters conference, as well as I think 100 people used the Downsized code and came to a conference that had 400 people in it. So there was a very significant Downsized presence. What did you guys think of all that? Mindy?
I think it was amazing. Oh, I'm sorry. Go, May.
Go ahead.
My voice got deeper. I like it. No, Darium is right. It was amazing to see a bunch of people that we already knew, a bunch of people that we kind of knew through YouTube land, right? That we had never gotten a chance to meet. And then a few people that for this event came out of the bushes and had never commented on a video, but have been watching quietly in the background. So it was
If you're
really
watching in
neat.
the background, comment now.
Yeah. Good point,
Exactly.
Michelle. Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
we had
and-
lots of people tell us that they never comment.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Mindy, I think a few people even recognized you, right? Said, "Oh, you're Mindy."
Yes. People said, "Oh, you're Mindy. You're the mayor," which is hilarious.
Yeah, and
They
I
were
think
excited to meet me. I'm like, okay.
that's get used to it. Get used to it, Mindy. And Darium, I think the same thing for you, right? You met a lot of your followers.
You know, I did. I was surprised to see how many people came up and they were like, I know who you are, which was very surreal. I know who you are. Who am I? And they've told me all about me. They told me about the comments and things they made. I'm so excited to meet you, which was really, really wonderful. I think the best part of it was meeting the people.
For sure.
Such a connection, right there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and like you're saying, people coming out of the bushes, people walked up to me. It's you. Hello. I've never commented before, but I've watched every video. And I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. What's your name or whatever? And then, and I'm always surprised when people say that to me, right? Because I really don't expect it. And then when I saw Dr. Ania coming down the hall, here's me. Are you Dr. Ania Jastreboff? And she's like, yes. I'm your biggest fan.
I have never seen you so starstruck.
I was totally starstruck. Anyway, you can. I was so like nervous during the interview. I was going like a million times, and a couple of people commented, "The lady is saying too much through the interview," and I was like, I couldn't help myself. But,
I think the best times was right before the interview.
yeah, well, I thought we were going to have a schedule of when we were going to interview people, and it didn't really work out that way. So Dr. Ania was on the panel on the opening evening of the conference, and I had asked my OAC person, I said, is she going to come right off and do an interview with us after? And they're like, I don't know. We haven't asked her. I was like, oh, I thought that was why we're here. But anyway, it worked out. And so they're like, yes, you can interview her right after. We've told her. She said yes. And then I was like, what do I ask her? I had my book with me.
It's not like you didn't do a whole book club.
My mind went like
blank. You lost the whole book in that moment.
And so I told all the Downsized people, I'm like, y'all, quick, give me questions. I can ask Dr. Ania like right now. So everybody's madly like writing down questions. How about this? How about this? They're like, how about this? How about this? And then a lady like at the conference is like then trying to talk to me about, oh, what's the Downsized? And I have
not now
diabetes and I have something in my stomach that is not supposed to be there. I'm like, Michelle, you need to talk to Michelle. So anyway, I appreciated everyone's support for that.
So I was in the room for the Dr. Ania interview. I'm sitting behind the camera, and I can attest to the fact that we were completely enamored with her and every word coming out of her mouth. So I think the ahas were just being so taken by her and what she was saying, because she's incredible.
And I think you have to set it up by. She had been on stage from 7 o'clock till about 9 o'clock already. So by the time we got her, it was a little after 9 o'clock. And she stayed with us and did interviews and chatted until a little bit after 11 o'clock at night. Yeah. So if you notice, the light actually changes in that interview, because I didn't plan on losing light and it being, completely pitch dark in Florida. I figured to be done by 5 o'clock, it wouldn't matter, right? And I think that was part of it, as like Dennis said, I think part of the mic issues is our batteries were starting to run out at some point on one of the mics. So it's always exciting. Well, so what did you think? What was your takeaways from Dr. Ania's talk?
I remember nothing. I did take some notes. Dennis, Darium, you took really good notes. I don't know if Dennis took notes, but Darium, I know you took notes. What were some of your thoughts?
So with Dr. Ania, the point, she did a lot of the things that she brought up in the book enough, and she talked about the biology. She really honed in the point of biology. But something that she said that was really, really impressive, and I want all of the people listening to know, is she listened to she said everything she learned was from the testimonies of her patients. Mm-hmm. And it's really important that when you're talking to your care team, to share your story, share everything. You saw, if you watch, I'm not going to give a spoiler, because if you've not seen the interview that the Downsized did with her, you missed out. But one thing she said was she wanted to hear it all. She wants to hear about the poop. She wants to hear everything, because she said everything that she learned to help her guide her practice was by listening to the patients. And it was really, she did everything and talking about being empowered by the patients, about patient experiences, about how patients have dealt with stigma, how going through the trials and all of those things that she learned a lot. So in there, she did a breakdown about it. She really honed in about biology. She really told us that we don't have as much control as we thought that we did, because the medication has certain controls and we have a little bit, but we really don't. So I think that in that, she really honed in a lot of the points from the book. She talked about the enough point and about the set point, but really the thing that I took away with it was the power of the patient testimony.
Yeah, I mean, Darium, I will admit I haven't read the book yet. I will now after having met her. She really explained GLP-1 treatment, but also bariatric treatments, right? Because she was talking to us a little bit about surgical options as well. And some non-GLP-1 options in a way that I hadn't ever heard them talked about before, right? I think we maybe oversimplify what GLP-1 does for us sometimes. It suppresses my appetite, I eat less, I lose weight. That was not her take on it. I'm willing to bet you could go back through that interview. I don't know if she ever said the word calorie or really talked about it from that perspective. So I was very intrigued by her her speech about this enough point, right? And it does explain a bit those of us that are super responders versus slow responders, right? And it's really just how the medication is working for each of us, right? And what it's doing to our enough point, right? And if if we've reached maybe the top dose and we haven't achieved the weight that we were seeking to achieve, right? We probably need something else in addition to it, right? And it's not our fault.
Well, and I asked her specifically, is there anything someone can do to make themselves a super responder, right? To change the way you respond? No is the answer.
Yeah.
Your body is going to choose how it wants to respond. That's not up to you.
Yeah. And I think I also asked her, I think it was when we were off camera, if there's a way to predict before somebody starts how they will respond. And it seems like there's not at this point.
We don't know it yet, but I know one of the things she said is obesity is confused biology, and I thought that was interesting. She also had said, we always talk about, we don't like calling these weight loss meds, but what she said is it's meds that recalibrate our set point.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that because it goes back to that whole set point, enough point. Someone else, it wasn't Dr. Ania, but said when they described maintenance, said something to the effect of I'm in a well-treated state. I think it might have been Joe who said that.
It was Joe, yeah, president of the OIC.
Yeah, and I really thought when he said that, I'm like, I like that. We've heard remission we played with other things than maintenance, but I think a well-treated state goes back to what Dennis was saying about the biology, the disease itself. Because when you hear that, you go, okay, so there are medicine to do this. So it sort of avoids that question of when you're coming off.
Right.
Yeah.
Biology.
I'm in a well-treated state. Why would I come off?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's because you can't judge a book by its cover, right? So looking at somebody who's now achieved their goal weight, you might say, well, they don't have obesity, right? But yeah,
like when Michelle went to a new doctor. Michelle went
Yes.
to a new doctor and they said, what are you on Zepbound for? You're tiny. Right, Michelle?
They did. And I'm like, you obviously haven't looked at my history. And I'm like, it's double what you're seeing.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Mindy, anything you wanted to add to that?
If it's about Dr. Ania, one of the things I heard her saying that she believes that each time you dose up, you're changing that set point or enough
lower, and then your body chases that lower point.
Lower, and so now I'm like, well, dang, I'm on 7.5. I need to, I mean, I toy around with the fact these guys all know, the audience probably doesn't know, but I toy with the idea that I'm still on the BMI chart, which, whatever, but I'm still overweight, but my doctor thinks I'm at a good spot. My A1C is fine. I'm 65 years old and, very active. But there's part of me that, like you, Lorraine, I want to be skinny, right? And so I'm like, well, if I went up to 10, if I went up to 12.5, what would happen? But my doctor doesn't want to do that because she thinks it's going to affect my blood sugar. So, but hearing her say that made me even more dose curious. So, yeah, it was interesting, but also, kind of messed with my head a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, that enough point that she talks about is, for me, I think my natural enough point is about 185 pounds. Like I could lose weight, but gain weight, but I always seem to come back to like between 185 and 200 pounds. So now with the medication, I've lowered my enough point down to about 145 pounds. So yeah, and that's what I asked her. I said, well, do I need to lose 10? I mean, I'm on the high end of normal. Should I lose 10 more pounds? Should I go up a dose and try to drop it down again? And then but the answer was kind of like, well, what are you really trying to achieve? How is it going to affect your life in a way where, yeah, something's going to be better, you're going to be stronger, faster, bionic, I don't know. But, and I'm like, just not, because I think that maybe I should be a certain number, and we really can't attach like I've attached for 50 years my, kind of worth to a number on the scale. So we have to and that kind of leads us into Dr. Robin Pashby's talk.
Let's stop for a minute, because the one thing we haven't done is say none of us are doctors.
Right.
Okay. We are not doctors. This is not medical advice. We're having a conversation about the conference we attended. As always, we talk about GLP-1s. We talk about our personal experiences. Each of us are experts at ourselves. So Mindy, Dennis, Darium, Michelle, Lorraine, all experts at themselves. We're always happy to answer questions when we can, and we may get to that closer to the end. But those answers are going to come from personal experience or things like listening to one of these presentations. Beyond that, if you haven't already, take a moment to like and subscribe. Several folks here also have channels. Actually, Darium has a channel on Substack, so you can go over to him. Michelle has a new travel channel you can do on Tides and Travels. You can go book cruises with her if you'd like. But we'll continue to talk and hopefully get to some questions at the end. There's 308 of you out there, 114 or 117 likes. My name's Christopher. This is Lorraine. I've lost 100. She's lost 50. There's Epitide. Go team. I'm on 15. She's on 10. All right. On to the next question. Dr. Robin Pashby.
Yeah, we've interviewed Dr. Robin Pashby before on the Downsized. We met her first last year at this OAC conference. She gave an amazing talk on the things we carry. So she basically came out with this backpack filled with a million things, it seemed like, in there that she unpacked and talked about how she put them down, everything that was weighing her down, a scale, a brick, an alarm clock, a wagon. Like, she related all these things to what mentally she was carrying with her disease of obesity. She kind of unpacked it all. So this time we were all like, how's she going to follow that up? You can go back and watch that original presentation. It's on our channel. It's on her channel. She's Dr. Robin Pashby, Pashby. So the talk that she gave this year was kind of like we were all clinicians in, say, a hospital or office kind of setting, and we were going through with diagnosis and then kind of a treatment plan for someone with the disease of obesity. I'll let our panelists kind of explain a little bit of that. Does anybody want to jump in on that?
So on the talk that she did, not specifically her with each step, because that's not what I took notes on.
Your overall thoughts.
Yeah, I will tell you, she was the most impactful for me of this. When she started, so I had seen her before, and one of the things to mention, which is really neat, is that both Dr. Pashby and Dr. Ania spent a lot of time with the people. You know, they didn't just do a speak and leave us. They were staying with us. I think you were dancing with them, Lorraine. So they spent time. But when Dr. Pashby started, I was like, I knew she was so nervous. She had said so beforehand. I had run into her in the elevator, and she's like, I don't know how I'm going to top last year. You know, there's so much pressure on me. And she started, and I'm thinking, oh, she's not going to top last year. And then by the end, I was sitting there, Mindy, and both of us were in tears. So it was a very impactful speech. There were a lot of things I took from it. I thought one of the things she said is that the most important advancement in obesity is not GLP. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And she said, but the diagnosis itself, the fact that it is a disease. And I was like, wow, you know, it's so true. And I actually used that today because someone said something about how the GLPs were the most important thing. And there was a lot in there for me. She had also talked about separating the disease from the damage it causes. And she talked a lot about the damage. And that really resonated for me because you think you've gotten to maintenance and you're done. and everything's going to be, what do you say, Lorraine? Rainbows and
unicorns and butterflies.
But really, that's where the work
There's no
begins.
Mindy.
That's really where the work begins, right? It's changing the stories in your head. And she talked about at the end, how do you change how you see yourself? And it's by recreating new stories. And I thought that was really amazing. I have a lot more, but I want to give my friends time to talk. But I could go on for hours because that one really impacted.
Darian, what do you think?
No, to piggyback off what Michelle was saying it was going back to those stories. So you not only hear the diagnosis, I have obesity, but all of the beliefs that go along with it, all of the ideas about what somebody living with obesity is going through, all of the scars, every jeer, every look, every place that you go into that you're not able to go into, all of the snide comments, all of the way that you felt less than, and all of those things. You hear people all the time talk about how maybe they have lost the weight physically, but they still see themselves in larger bodies. They treat themselves a certain way. They're sitting down on the sofa, they're grabbing the pillow to cover their stomachs. Different things that they're going through with trying to shed, no pun intended, all of that stigma, but you may have lost the weight, or you may have had your obesity well treated, but mentally you still carry those scars. You still have those things, and if you're not doing those things internally, you may even lash out or have those things against other people living with obesity. You may look at them differently. They're not trying, or it worked for me, why not you? All of those things that go with the diagnosis of obesity. It doesn't just stop with getting the diagnosis. Oh, you have the disease of obesity. It's not your fault. ... Now what?
Now what? Yeah, exactly. I said this a lot last year when we first went to the OAC conference. I may have gotten now to a goal weight, to a healthy weight, but I'm still a fat girl on the inside, right? Like I still feel like I still struggle with what my body looks like. I'm the one who's going to sit down and put a blanket or a pillow over my stomach. We were recording a video today. I'm like, I look terrible. We can't put this video out. My daughter's like, Mom, what are you talking about? You have no concept of what you look like, and that's going to take a long time to unravel.
Let me pop up a couple of things here. So Gwen Roro gifted a Downsized membership. Thank you, Gwen.
Thanks,
so one
Gwen.
lucky person will randomly get a Downsized membership. Faithful GLP-1 Journey. So Grant and his wife also gifted a Downsized membership.
And Christy, thank you.
Thank you. The Mel B, look at there.
Female B. Now, I thought
Chat.
Wasn't she supposed to come to the OAC conference? Didn't somebody tell me she was going to be coming?
She thought about it. She thought about it.
She thought about it.
Thank you, Mel B. Actually, Mel B was
Mel B.
I'm pretty sure our very first Club Downsized member.
I think she was. I think she was our first subscriber. I think she will tell everyone she was the first subscriber. So thank you, Mel B.
Was.
It's nice to see you.
John P. has a question. $5 super chat. Let me do this $5 super chat here.
Super chat.
So after a period of weight loss, 4 to 5 months, how can you tell whether to titrate up or lower calories if you hit 3 to 4 weeks if no loss is met or calories? Well, it's not either or. It's not an either or thing, John. So this is the medical treatment of the disease of obesity. If you are we don't know where you are in your journey. So are you at 2.5? Are you at 15? We have no idea where. But titration is a natural part of the journey. So you may need to titrate up, talk to your doctor. You may also need to look at your calories. It's not one or the other.
Well,
it's both.
After listening to these people speak at the OAC conference, I don't think it's a question of calories. It's a question of medicine, right? I'm believing more and more we have little control over what we actually eat, and that sounds like a cop out or terrible, but it's our biology, right? So if you're at a stall and you're not losing any weight and you've been there for several weeks, it's probably time to go up in your medicine, ask your doctor, right? So, because that medicine is really going to control the amount of calories that we eat. I mean, what do you guys think about? What do you think about that?
I think it was Dr. Ania that was talking about
Yeah.
the mechanism of it. It's the body telling the brain what it needs, right? And that's where the appetite is coming from, right? So really, if you're lowering your calories, it's letting you do that because it's telling you, I'm satisfied now with this amount of calories, right? And then sort of like you were saying before, Mindy, we catch up to that, that enough point that it's allowing us to hit. So is there a direct correlation between dose and body weight? I don't know. I think it's more complex than that based off of what they were saying.
And I will say that having been off the medicine for the past 3 weeks for a procedure, a test that I have to have, going into this third week, it's all coming back. The food noise. I had said to them earlier, oh my God, the food noise didn't really leave. It's here still. So to me, that is biology. And then it makes me question, though, the whole enough point. Are we really lowering it, or is the meds helping us mask it? Because my body saying I want to eat now.
The medicine is artificially lowering our enough point so that we can lose weight, I think, right?
Correct.
It's a treatment. It's not a cure. So it doesn't permanently change your body or your metabolism.
You've had to stop the treatment. So now your body is coming back to its normal level. It's trying to push you back to your natural enough point, which is 150 pounds more than you are today. So, of course,
something.
But Michelle, you said it's been 3 weeks, right? And we know the medication stays in your system for about 30 days. So you're almost through what's in your system.
Exactly. So it's the point. It makes me know for a fact I will never come off these medicines because, look, I'm 3 weeks in. It's still a little bit in my body, Dennis, to your point.
Yeah.
So titration is a natural part of this medical treatment. And if you need to, the right dose for you is the one that works. So talk to your doctor and move up if it's necessary. There's a whole mentality that I need to stay on the lowest dose as long as possible, which is great, but at some point it becomes self-defeating and expensive. So do what you got to do.
There's no award for staying on a lower dose if it's not doing what you needed to do.
Yeah.
All right, where were you?
We were still talking about Dr. Pashby, I believe.
Correct.
Darium, thoughts on Dr. Pashby?
I already said that.
Oh,
Dr. Pashby was, but
that's right.
Mindy,
Sorry.
Mayor Mindy, she may have something to say.
Mayor Mindy.
Yeah, I did have something to say, and now it's kind of escaped me.
Well, Mindy, I'll just throw out while you're thinking an anecdote. Dr. Pashby is a rock star, at least at this conference. She walked into what was the song? This Girl Is on Fire. Yeah, and the crowd there absolutely knows and loves her. Yeah, you would think that was Beyonce on that stage. So she is absolutely loved by the OAC community. And yeah, I think she, Michelle, you mentioned she was telling some of the group afterwards that I think she felt the pressure of needing to live up to that talk that she gave last year, which is, I think most of us have seen it now because it's pretty popular. And I would say she delivered. It was definitely a unique take and was very inspirational, I think, for those of us that have lived the experience.
Yeah, I remembered now what I was going to say about Dr. Pashby.
Hold on. Go for it. Go for it.
Sorry. Darium and Michelle were talking about how, she talked about the diagnosis and then, all of the trauma that we've experienced as, people with the disease of obesity. And that just reminded me, it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with, it's not directly connected to Dr. Pashby, I don't believe, but one of the things I think all of us were reminded of when we were there is all of the different ways people are treating their disease of obesity and also not treating their disease of obesity, right? There were people there that I think for those who were there last year, I was not, but I think you saw that there was a lot more focus on GLP-1 medications and other, upcoming medications and the excitement for that. But there were also people there who had had gastric bypass surgery and been very successful. There were people that had done some combination of both, right? They'd either tried the medication, couldn't get far enough, had gastric bypass surgery. There were people who had surgery and couldn't get far enough or gained back, and they took medication. And then there were people there that were really just there, at least for the moment, to understand and seek understanding for their disease of obesity. And so, the overall welcoming vibe of the whole conference, no matter where you were in your journey, no matter how you got there or where you were going, there was something for everybody and someone inspiring everywhere you looked.
Thank
Absolutely.
you, Mindy. So we got another super chat here from the Real MVP 1999. Thank you, Real MVP, who says, "Hi, everyone.
MVP.
Just curious, is the point of the medicine to lose weight for the sake of reaching an arbitrary number, or is the point to get rid of unhealthy visceral subcutaneous fat, which causes all kinds of health issues?" I'll start, and then you guys can go. I think, as you've heard us talk about, these are medical treatments. So the point is to treat the disease of obesity. However, each person may come to this with their own underlying goals, right? So you may have type 2 diabetes, you may have sleep apnea, you may want to get in a smaller pair of jeans, you may have fatty liver disease, you may have a lot of other things. So it's not to say all those things aren't important. So some people do indeed come to this and say, my goal is to lower the number on the scale. Some people come to it and say, my goal is to lower visceral fat. The good thing about these medications is because they operate metabolically, no matter what your goal is, they're still treating the disease. Michelle, what do you think?
So I came to it to lose a number. I wanted the scale lower. I didn't like what I looked like in the mirror, and I wanted that scale lower. Did it change along the way? It absolutely did. I've told everyone I lost my first 100 pounds without any exercise. It's where I was. Now I exercise. So I think you can start with one intention, and the intention can change as you go.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what happened.
Yeah. How about you, Mindy?
So my starting was to get my A1C down, and I guess that, also my weight was stuck because I was on insulin. But one of the things that was very reaffirming, is that a right word? Was Christopher had warned us that there was going to be a giant liver in the lobby of the hotel, and sure enough, there was a giant liver. It was an inflatable, and Michelle and I actually got to be the first people to walk through it after the fire marshal approved. And
hang on, a liver so big you can walk through.
Yes, it was huge. Yeah. And it had various stages of disease on the inside that you could see as well. But one of the things that the folks that were there with the giant liver, one of the things they were doing was a fibro scan, I think it's called. So it's a scan of your liver. And Michelle and Darium and I went and had that done. And then I went back and looked at my old data when I first was diagnosed with diabetes, and my liver function, or my liver scan, was very bad. It was like almost 10. And I think now it was 4 point something, which I forget what they said normal was, but I was well below that. So taking tirzepatide and lowering my, my overall fat, my visceral fat, my weight, this allowing me to choose to eat more healthy, all of those things, not only didn't cure, treated, I'm well treated, treated my disease of obesity, but also treated so many other metabolic issues that I
Well,
had. So.
one of the facts that they said in one of those presentations was that the liver is the first place that starts taking on fat. So you get this giant fat. And interesting enough, when your DEXA scan or whatever tests for lean mass, it includes the fat in the liver as lean mass. So you can be losing fat in your liver and it look like muscle, but it's really the lean mass number changing, which is kind of mind blowing. What about you, Dennis?
Yeah. So for me, when I started, I was 41 years old. Pretty fortunate that I didn't have any serious health complications. Obviously, I was carrying hundreds of pounds of extra weight, right? But was not diabetic, was not really suffering at all any of the complications that I'm sure were coming my way, right? So for me, having been heavy since I was about 8 or 9 years old, when I started to gain weight, I saw an opportunity to hopefully get to a healthy weight, right? And to look the way that I always wanted to look, right? So yeah, I'll be honest about that, right? But when I look back at my data now, I was on blood pressure medication, right? I had high cholesterol, but they were telling me, oh well, it's not really necessary that you take a statin or anything yet. And now all of my blood work is completely normal in the normal range. Right, I went from having a 44-inch waist to having a 30-inch waist, right? Wow. And all of these biometrics that they test us for at work every year, right? Because you can get a discount on your health insurance, right? Many of those I wouldn't have qualified before. I didn't even try, right? So yeah, even in my day-to-day life, right, I wasn't really suffering health consequences. I think I would have been soon enough, right? So like everyone here has said, it started as one thing and turned into another, for sure.
Well, and so for me, because I'm 20 some odd years older than you are, right? At 54, I mean, I've told this story many times, but my mom died only a few years older than I am right now. So I was afraid of dying, is why I did it. Is it nice that I lost weight? Absolutely. But it was more important to still be here for her and for my kids and for JoJo. So, Darium, how about you, man?
So I started out because I was trying to manage diabetes and wanted to get that under control. And then I fell for the okie doke. They told me that I could get down to a size 2T. So I worked really, really hard to get down to a 2T, and it just backfired.
Great.
Well, you're very tall, so you're never getting to a 2T. But
I guess I won't get into a 2T, but that's what I started with. But even in that, the thing that was even more impactful for me was the mindset shift. Because I have always been somebody who was doing for other people, and me on the last part of it, and coming into this whole process has made me prioritize my health, and in prioritizing my health, it really, really forced me to get to know me better. So the mindset the mindset transformation for me has been one of the most impactful part of this entire journey for me.
Michelle, did we talk to you about this one too? Or?
Yeah, I started it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
I hit everybody. I didn't get you. What about you? You tell them you.
I talk all the time. I'd rather hear them. But what I was going to say is, Darium has some great in his Substack and his TikTok, some great points of view on the mindset piece, right? And that's Dr. Pashby's whole presentation, right? Our internalized weight bias. Like we all have it. So how do we change it? And Darium is always posting these very insightful bits about taking care of yourself and making time to do things that you need, like go for a walk, or just taking a lot of self-care things that I think a lot of times get overlooked. So shout out to Darium.
Thank you, Darium. So another super chat from John P. says, thank you. Despite 35 pounds, 14% weight loss, 4 to 5 months on 3.0 TERS. For some reason, I still think it's a calorie cardio battle, but it isn't.
Yeah.
It's not. It's and
Yeah.
3.0 is it's not quite the starting dose. It's kind of a little bit higher than the starting dose. So, and just after listening to these doctors, obesity is a disease and it's not our fault. And the dose that you need, I think everyone on this panel is on a different dose. And we're all at different places, right? And so the dose that works for you, it doesn't matter if it's 2.5 or 3 or 15. We know our friend Jamie Seltzler, he has lost over 300 pounds. And when he started, he didn't lose any weight until he got to a 10 milligram dose of tirzepatide. So, other people I've seen lose 50, 75 pounds on 2.5s. There's no way to tell. And it doesn't correlate to anything. And it doesn't mean, I just need to lose a little bit of weight. I'm just going to go on a little 2.5 dose. It doesn't work like that. It's the dose is not dependent on anything any doctor can tell at this point. So,
well, so to do your average math, though, you're
He's losing like
overperforming.
1.9 per week.
Well, 5 months.
So you're doing
20
pretty well.
weeks. And right, we need to say, Mindy, I like to say 1 to 2 pounds a week is the average, but Mindy reminds me that it's a half a pound to 2 pounds a week is truly the average weight loss on these medications. So if you've been on these for 5 months, that's 20, maybe 22 weeks, you've lost 35 pounds. Well, 22 weeks, 22 pounds would be a pound a week. You're at 35 pounds. You're over a pound a week. You're not quite at 2 pounds a week. Congratulations, you're average, right? And so people,
you're on the high end of average.
People forget
I would say higher than average.
What the meaning of average truly is. So you take your total weight loss divided by the number of weeks you've been on this medication. So, and it's good to kind of level set your expectations every once in a while, because maybe you were losing 3, 4, or 5 pounds a week at first. And now maybe you've gotten to a place where you're not losing at all, or you're losing half a pound a week and you're thinking,
well, I do think plateau.
It's working. I
do think our bodies take a little bit of a plateau sometime, just because you've been losing pretty aggressively. And it's like, hang on. I need to make sure I'm okay. And it can just do that. But talk to your doctor. It's certainly, 3 is really the starting dose, basically 2.5. Yeah. You could certainly go up if you need to. And then Deborah Kreischer.
Oh, thank you for your $20 super chat. 70 pounds down. Had my 65th birthday this month. Happy birthday. Love this community. Well, that's fantastic. I love all the stories of success, right? That's really what these lives are a big part of them. Here's another one. I thought, were you putting another one up?
That's the same one.
No, same one. Okay. But congratulations, Deborah. Thank you so much.
Shorty put up 1,000 joules. I have no idea what that means. But thank you, Shorty.
I think Shorty's coming with us on the cruise. The Downsized cruise.
Yay!
I think all the members of this panel are going to be on the next Downsized cruise. Am I right?
Yes. Yes. Even Darium.
So, if you're a member of Club Downsized, registration is open for the Downsized cruise. If you're not a member of Club Downsized, registration opens up August 1st. So that's on Saturday.
3 days.
So if you want to go to our website, thedownsized.org, on August the 1st, you can see all the information for our June 2027 Downsized cruise.
So there are 300.
It's too long because you may miss it.
That's right. There are 324 people out there and 197 likes, so almost 200. Three more of you can hit like. Go ahead. Quick, we'll wait. All right.
I already hit like.
I didn't. Hold on. Let me pause. I didn't.
So I was editing today the interview we did with Dr. Renee.
Dr. Renee,
I'm probably going out of order, but I edited it today. I many of these presentations I did not see because I was interviewing and doing things, and Dennis was with me. But super, super interesting. What were your thoughts on her presentation? She really spoke to exercise in a kind of challenging way that I think a lot of people were a little surprised by. Darian, you're nodding.
Oh, Dr. Renee, she came in and she had one of the most powerful quotes
I can't hear him.
that I remember. She said that one size fits none.
Mm-hmm.
That there is no one size fits all. It fits nobody because there's no one size for everybody. And to think that you have a one size approach to anything is just a misnomer. But she talked about exercise and she talked about how people were understanding or misunderstanding or disunderstanding the entire idea about what is dealing with body recom, body composition, looking at those numbers and putting them in the correct light. And a lot of times people are taking information, making health choices or really mindset choices based on the information without necessarily having a good context. So I thought that she provides some really compelling information for people to really to take a step back, dig a little deeper into those numbers to try to put those things into a particular perspective. I thought she was really, really captivating.
Yes, her name is Dr. Renee Rogers. I found my note. Her title of her presentation was Rethinking Health, Body Composition, and Fitness. And I wrote really big exercise.
Now, this woman has her PhD in exercise scientist, and she's a registered dietitian. Super, super smart. And the one size fits all motto just kind of went through it all because basically she threw it in the faces of a lot of people and said, yeah, you need to exercise, but it's not all about lifting weights. It's about what you need for your situation, which was a little bit of a gasp in the room.
Well, you don't need strength training, she said. Or do you? It's different.
Yeah, and that's what we've heard, right? If you're on a GLP-1, you better be lifting some weights because you don't want to lose your muscle. And her feeling was quite the opposite. And I think some of us on the panel maybe do some weights, and some of us on the panel maybe do not. So, I think that was kind of, I kind of felt relieved because when I was talking to her afterwards, I said in our interview, I said, I really like doing step aerobics and cardio dance. And I do some weights because I feel like I have to, because I'm supposed to. And she said, no, do the exercise that you like, that works for you. And I was like, you mean I don't have to lift weights? And she goes, no, if you don't want to, don't lift weights. So it was kind of like a, moment. What did you guys think about that?
So you guys know that I lift weights. I lift very heavy, but I don't do it because I'm on a GLP-1. I think that's where people misunderstand why I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I do it because I'm 65 years old and I want to keep or even improve my muscle. I also do believe that the more muscle you have on your body, the less efficient your body, the more efficient your body is at burning calories. But it's really just, I want to be strong. Like I got on the airplane coming home and Lorraine, as you know, I had to not only sit, but jump on my suitcase to get it closed because I had acquired a few new things while I was in Florida. And that bad boy was so heavy. And I'm not tall. I'm only 5'4". So to lift something that heavy up into those bins, I had a young man say to me, would you like some help? And I said, no, thank you. I work out. I've got this. And I hoisted that thing up there.
Good for you.
But, I don't do it because I'm on a GLP-1. I always lifted weights, even when I was morbidly obese. I had the disease, well, whatever. When I was very much overweight, I don't know how to say it right. But anyway, so I do it for that reason. And because like lifting heavy stuff is a good stress reliever for me. But and I believe that lifting weights is a very good thing for people to do. But if that's the only thing you're supposed to do, or you're doing it wrong and you hate that, you're not going to do anything. And then where are you? Right. So if you like line dancing, if you like running, if you like walking, if you like, doing aerobic class or whatever the thing is you like to do that's going to get your body moving, because it's not just good for weight loss. It's good for your cardiovascular health. It's good for your mental health, all of those things. Whatever the thing is that you're going to do that you like to do, that's the thing you should do.
Well, and what she compared it to is you don't, all obese or all people who have obesity don't go to the doctor and get the exact same treatment. You go and they take your blood pressure and they do your blood work and all these things, and they build a treatment for you. So why is it that all people with obesity would get the same exact exercise treatment? So you should really be sitting down with your exercise person and going, hey, let me show you my blood work. Let's talk about my goals. What are you trying to accomplish? How old are you? Where are you in your life stage? All those things, and building it out such as for you. So, I mean, the most interesting example was one of our other viewers, Lynn, who's been trying to work on her visceral fat and lifts weights. Okay, she looks great. She looks fabulous.
She's in her 70s.
But she's in her 70s, and she asked, she's like, well,
or was she in her 60s?
She's like, well, how do I get
Just
rid of
talk
my
to her.
visceral fat? Well, the
She'll be
answer to getting
68.
rid of visceral fat is aerobics. So,
She's like, why didn't anybody tell me that? I've been lifting these heavy weights. I know I've been trying to work on my visceral fat, and I'm going to add some aerobics in. So, yeah.
So Renee was not anti weightlifting. She was anti telling everybody they have to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that was pretty interesting, because I never thought about you go to someone. Like, you'll have a fitness trainer, but you're more going because you just don't know what to do, not because they're giving you as much individualized. And she really brought that in. And I thought about mine, because I told you I didn't exercise the first 100 pounds. What actually started me exercising, when I went to the obesity specialist and we did my InBody, and I didn't have enough. I was on the verge of not having enough muscle that I would have. What is it called? Sarcopenia.
Sarcopenia.
She says, you don't have it, but if you lose any more, you will.
Oh,
And I needed to gain muscle, which I have, but that became my focus. But, we hear about protein, we hear about hydration, you might even hear about fiber, and we all hear about constipation, but you don't really hear about going to the doctor or someone special to do exercise. And to me, that was a whole new concept.
yeah, for sure. I need all these doctors. I always thought I just went to one doctor and they told me what to do, right? I never thought about going to a doctor for an exercise prescription, but apparently that's a thing. So, Darium, Dennis, any thoughts there?
Well, I'm staying quiet because I think you know my position on this, right? So I'm not someone that exercised through my weight loss journey. I did have the InBody scan done though when we were there, and it shows that my legs are still 110% of what they would expect my amount of muscle to be for my height and weight. But I think that just reinforces the point that treatment needs to be personalized, right?
Well, and one of the things she said in the interview was it's okay. Everybody's probably going to lose a little bit of muscle, and you don't necessarily need the same amount of muscle at 500 pounds that you need at 200 pounds. And that it wasn't really about the weight of the muscle. It was about the functionality of the muscle. Right? Does this actually work for you? Because, you could be a bodybuilder and look all pretty and it not, do what you needed to do. So I don't know, it was just a much more nuanced conversation from someone who had, I am sure, more education on exercise than anybody I've ever spoken to. So I thought it was cool.
I didn't know people got that type of.
I did not either.
Well, an interesting thing that I wrote down, because I've been using the body pod. I've been trying to look at my muscle mass and my lean mass rather, and my body fat, in addition to my weight, in addition to hydration, on a lot of different metrics. And she pointed out that lean tissue, that comes up as the measurement on our bioimpedance scales, is made up of connective tissue. I'm reading this from my notes. Organs, water, and muscle. muscle's only 50% of that lean tissue. There's connective tissue, our organs, and our water are all part of that lean tissue number. So, you know, we have to keep that in mind, right? As we look at these metrics and we're building, we want to, you know, keep our muscle, build our muscle. It's not all the lean mass has other things in that number, and it's important to remember that as we, you know, lose weight.
And it's that muscle also has fat in it. So it's about the quality of the muscle. So the bigger you are, if you think about a Wagyu steak, if you've ever bought it, or any steak from a grocery store, you can see when it has a lot of fat in the middle of it, right? Well, the ideal is to get you more functionally and get some of that fat down. Well, that's going to still on a DEXA scan or a body pot or whatever read as lean mass or sometimes muscle. So it's a lot more complicated than I thought. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could also be why it appears that the muscles shrink, but it's really just the fat leaving the muscles. Yeah.
5 gifted memberships from Travis. Travis was at the conference as well. Travis, thank you.
Travis won our raffle that we gave away. We gave a pass to the conference away, and Travis won. Now, Travis lives in Nebraska. So Nebraska to Florida was quite a journey, but we were very glad to meet him, and I think he enjoyed it. So thanks, Travis, for those memberships.
Lorraine, so I met Travis for the first time. We had talked many, many times on the live.
Mm-hmm.
I think these type of things, as well as the Downsized cruise, really gives you a chance to get to know the person behind, because you type with them for a little bit and you feel like you know them, but then when you're in person, you get to know them. I can just say for this group right up here, we've all gotten to know each other really well over the time. And it's amazing how having the commonality really connects you. So it was really good. And Travis was one of those I met this time for the first time, and that was cool.
Nice. Absolutely. Yep.
Yes.
All right. We're like the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, I'm just changing it around, mixing it up. Where would you like this to be? There you go.
Here's a story of a lovely lady. Do that at the end. All right. Okay.
What was next?
I had a thought, and what was it? Oh, Michelle, talking about when you're talking about meeting Travis and people in person, and how I noticed somebody on the comments, like when we first started, because I can see some comments over here on my bigger screen, said Michelle has an accent. Michelle has an interesting accent.
No, I don't.
And
what are you talking about?
Well, you know, because you live in. When I first met you, I'm like, well, you live in Florida, but you know, you're from New York, so you know, it's one of those things when you meet somebody in person, maybe you don't expect someone from Florida to have a New York accent, but
nobody owns me. Florida, New Yorkers say I have a Boston accent. Boston people say I have I'm from Boston too. Boston people say it's New York, and I tell them I've been in Florida over 40 years, and nobody believes me.
I pegged it the minute I met her. Dennis and I are also both from New York. But
very, very close to each other in New York, too. Michelle's from the town next to me.
Yeah, so we all had lived right by each other, not knowing each other.
Yeah.
Well, Dennis wasn't even born.
Yeah.
I was very, very young.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to the community aspect too, right? Because when you know, and we wouldn't have ever met each other if not for being on a GLP-1, for being on these social media platforms. And it's amazing, right? And it's really nice whenever you have the chance to meet other people that are on this journey, meet them in person, and you can just talk about whatever, and they understand, and it's just so wonderful. So well,
that was the first Downsized cruise for most of us, right? Having that experience for the first time.
Yeah.
Like the best summer camp ever.
Yeah, my friends and family were like, wait a minute, hold up. So you're on a medication, and these other people are on the same medication, and you're all going on a cruise together?
Where there's a lot of food, and there's
well, also
yeah,
that.
Most of us came home and had lost weight on that cruise, that first cruise.
But, you know, I have Hashimoto's disease, which is a thyroid disease, nothing to do with GLP-1 medication. But I don't have get-togethers with all of the people that are on Synthroid, right? We don't get together at the annual Hashimoto's Live Your Best Life conference. Maybe there is one and I've been missing out.
Maybe
but
you could
yeah.
start one, Mindy. I mean,
Doesn't it go back to how much this is a disease that wasn't treated as a disease for so long? So
Yeah.
a lot of us have had that baggage that went along with it. So we understand it. I think others don't understand it. I think it was a conversation I was having with Dennis at one point, and it's like, we can talk. We're connected in a way, and we've gone through things that nobody else will ever understand. We were talking about the person you interviewed. I don't remember her name. The 18-year-old.
Oh,
Maggie. Yeah.
Dennis was telling me about her because I had met her very quickly, and then he was giving me the backstory, and I had tears in my eyes, and he's like, I did too. It's just a connection that's unlike you did too.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I'm waiting for that. That's your first interview out.
Maggie's interview has not aired yet, right?
It will tomorrow. It will tomorrow. Yeah. But you can give them a preview, Dennis.
Yeah. So again, I was in the room, but behind the camera for that. Maggie's 18 years old, now 18 years old. She was also in the same Oprah special that Dr. Ania was featured in, right? And so she was a couple years younger at the time. But Maggie, I think, had reached about 300 pounds by the time she was 11 or 12 years old.
Yeah.
Had bariatric surgery. And then was one of, if not the youngest person to start GLP-1 treatment. And obviously incredible to hear. She has an incredible story. But in talking to her mom after the cameras stopped rolling, just hearing from a mom's perspective of, desperately wanting to do something for their kid and to get them the help they needed. And her mom turned to Maggie and said, well, the session before was talking about this internalized, obesity bias. Do you have that? And she said, no, I really don't think I do. I think you got it young enough, right? Oh my God.
Yeah, it was really powerful. And you first hear the story and you think, oh my God, a 12-year-old at 300 pounds had bariatric surgery. What the heck? What the heck was going on? Like, as a parent, as a person, that's your first reaction. What was going on? And talking to her mom, she feared for her child's life. Her child was gaining weight. Maggie was gaining weight so fast, and nothing they could do was stopping it. And she was fearful, just terrified. And so Maggie had the bariatric surgery, and Maggie's now 18. And a question I asked her, because this is a question people want to know all the time, is what about all the loose skin, right? I mean, so an 18-year-old, you'd think, well, maybe some of it, are you going to wait and see what retracts and see what's, kind of what's left? Are you going to wait till you're a little bit older? She'd already had a 360-degree full body lift.
Yeah.
And I was like...
And she showed us the scar too, and she looks phenomenal. I was oh, thank you for sharing.
Like it was nothing.
Yeah, it was not. Yeah,
she's moved on already. Like, she was very mentally secure in her who she was, and where she came from, and where she was. I was just like
completely. But one, I think, of course, I think of myself, right? So, like I said before, I've been heavy since I was a kid, right? So my entire adult life, in my entire teens, right? I was never in a normal size body, right? So my first thought was, how would my life have been different if I had gotten treated as a kid, right? Which then the immediate thought is, wow, all the kids that will now not have to grow up having gone through what I went through.
Well, which ties it back to Dr. Ania, because if you watch the interview, she was actively talking about heading obesity off. Like, what if we could start to help people before it became a real problem? And that, mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah. Darian, you've been quiet over there. What do you think about that?
I'm really, really, really my mind goes in 1,000 miles because I think about the impossible decision to give major surgery to your tween,
Yeah.
to as trying to make that decision, not just what you have to settle in yourself, your family, because that's something that's major that doesn't just affect the child, it affects the entire family. You have to do totally different things. There is recovery and all of those things, but then a whole community. And now, having gone on Oprah, thank you, Oprah, a world who has an opinion about the decision that you had to make for your child to save your child's life, and have to constantly defend that. And to have the child who is living fully unscathed by all of the baggage saying, hey, I don't know about all that. I'm trying to figure out what's next. What else do I have? How amazing is that?
So Darian, Maggie's mom, she won't appear on camera. So the interview that you'll see is really just with Maggie, but we did spend quite a bit of time with Maggie's mom in the room after the interview wrapped. And she was telling us all the things that they were trying to do for Maggie, right? So it was they did not run right at surgery. They did not run right at GLP-1s. They sent her to what her mom called fat camp, right? And I think a lot of us unfortunately know what that is. And she was telling us how absolutely traumatizing an experience that was for her as a parent, seeing the way that those kids were treated. She was giving me examples, things like, they would give them the reward of they would allow to be, to chew on ice at the end of the day, right? Like these kinds of things. Just, and this is only, within the last 10 years, right? Less than that, right? And how quickly, we've already changed our mindset on what obesity is and how it's treated. And, I don't think many would do that to their kids now, right? But really getting that bariatric surgery, right? That was we've tried everything else, right? And this is the option for her that's going to be best.
Yeah, Maggie was just such a bright light, right? Like they have a separate piece of this conference just for teenagers. Thrive Together, I think, is the name of that separate teenager conference. So, and the kids kind of come at it like, oh, my mom's making me come here, and this is really stupid. And then by the end of the 2 days, they've like bonded and they're best friends, and we're dancing together at the under the sea night. And it's just like, again, the power of community, even for teenagers, right? And Maggie's kind of leading this group of teens because she's been through the whole gamut, right? Couldn't have asked for a better example of somebody in terms of mindset or anything else for that matter. So and that was something that wasn't featured. She wasn't a speaker at the OAC. Her mom came up to me. I was standing outside our room and I was handing out bags and buttons, and we started talking, and she said, yeah, my daughter was on the Oprah Winfrey special. And I said, I saw her and you were on it too. And she goes, yes. I said, I'd really like to talk to your daughter. So, it's just those connections that were so special to me that, you just won't see anywhere else, really.
Yeah. And sorry, I'm reading in the comments. Somebody's asking if Maggie and her mom are from Missouri. Yes, they are from Marceline, Missouri, which is a fun fact if you're a Disney fan, because that is where Walt Disney is from. Yes, and so I was very excited to talk to them about Marceline, Missouri. And apparently there's a very nice museum there about Walt Disney's life.
Dennis is #1 Disney super fan.
Yeah, sure. Yes.
Go over there at some point to see it.
If we could just expand the Thrive conversation just for a moment.
Yeah.
It's just because the Thrive component is really it's teens and their families who are living with obesity and trying to navigate those things and get in the perspective of the people from that age trying to navigate it. And in talking to different people, like I remember last year, it was really, really a compelling young lady who was from West Virginia. She and her mom, they came and they were talking, and they were really, really impactful, sharing their stories. They went up to Capitol Hill kind of with that. this year I sat down and I talked with this this uncle who was there with his nephew. He and his nephew, they came out the second year. He said how shy, introverted, and his mom was smothering him, but the uncle was like, no, I'll take him. You know, he wants to come. This is their second year, and he says when he came, his nephew last year came for the first time, really scared and really shy, and really didn't want to bond. But then finding that community, was talking about it all year. They're getting ready for it. He came back this year, the nephew, and connecting and showing people around, and just to know that there's a sense of community for us. I wish when I was younger in a larger body, there was a connection of people who were showing that it was okay to be in a larger body and not be ostracized or pointed at or made to be the butt of the joke, but somebody who's living and thriving and trying to get their life. So for the people, I know that we have thousands of people who are here, and many of them have kids who may be living with the disease of obesity. Just know that there are avenues for them to be able to connect with people who understand that lived experience, where you as a parent, guardian, mentor may not fully be able to connect with them, but there are a whole host of teens and young adults who get it, who are really can speak to them and offer to let them know they're a little less alone.
Yeah, thanks for that, Darian. Yeah, if anyone out there is interested in those programs, you can go to the Obesity Action Coalition's website. Google Obesity Action Coalition or Thrive Together Obesity Action Coalition, and that should come up. I'm a member of the Obesity Action Coalition, and I get a magazine, I think quarterly, and it talks about some of the programs in there. You can also go online and join and become a member. I think it's $25 or something like that. But yeah. All right.
Any other highlights that you guys want to make sure we hit?
Something I wanted to talk about, because I think of something maybe Darian said or Dennis said. One thing, and I don't remember who said this. It was in my notes, and I don't remember who said it, but they spoke about, and I think when I wasn't on the live last night, you guys might have talked about it, but they said we can't. They were talking about how to handle like comments, and I think we've all had these discussions before. And what they said I found very impactful, and that was that we can't combat shame and blame with shame and blame. So it sounds obvious, but I think all of us, including those of us in this GLP-1 community, sometimes forget that. So if we respond by shaming people that don't understand obesity or the medication that we're on, we're just repeating the same pattern that we're trying to change. And I think I heard that last night you guys shared the example that I always give, and that is our friend Jamie Selzler, who has been on your channel. He has a YouTube channel himself. He also has a really great TikTok channel. But when people come into his TikTok lives, because that's where you'll find a lot of trolls, he's always like overly kind. And sometimes it can sound like he's being sarcastic, but he kills them with kindness. And someone will come in and say, "Oh, you're just fat and lazy," and he'll be like, I'm so sorry for whatever has happened to you in your life that you feel the need to say something like that to me, a total stranger. I just want to let you know that I love you, and I hope that you can get past whatever it is that's happening to you. So that's a little bit exaggerated, especially in our real lives. We probably wouldn't do something like that, but quite often people aren't trying to be intentionally cruel. I think it sometimes stems from ignorance, and I don't mean ignorance in a bad way. Like, ignorance just means you don't know something. It's not a negative. There are plenty of things that all of the people watching us, or my other friends that are on this panel with me, are very knowledgeable about, and I know nothing of it. That doesn't mean I'm dumb. It just means I'm ignorant about that topic, right? So we always have to try to think of, or at least there are times, trust me, I know, but I feel like we should we should approach it with, am I trying to win an argument or am I trying to change someone's mind? And I know sometimes it's not worth trying to change their mind, right? It just isn't. If it's a stranger that has no business in your life, in your realm, um, there are ways around that. But I think the closer the person is to us, whether it's a friend or family or a coworker, someone you're close with and someone you have to see every day, rather than turn it into a confrontation, it might be better to turn it into an opportunity to educate. And so, something like when people give me a hard time about taking Manjaro. Now, I often get a pass because I also have type 2 diabetes, right? So I think I get a little bit more of a pass than someone who's, and I'm saying this facetiously, who's just trying to lose weight, right? So I get a little bit of a pass, but still, I say for me, Manjaro didn't replace those healthy habits. It finally made those habits sustainable. I still lift weights, I pay attention to my nutrition, I work hard to protect my muscle. The medication didn't remove the work, it made the work possible. And I've heard Christopher say this too, right? Depending on the person's intention, my response can be different. But I think, after so many years, decades in my case, of whether it's self-inflicted or from others feeling that shame and blame, now it's like we have this power that we can clap back, and be like, no, it's a disease, damn it. No, I think if we try to give the other person the same grace and kindness that we wish they would give to us, I think we can do a better job of spreading the idea that obesity is a disease. And you're going to make me say it, Lorraine. And it's not our fault. It's not my fault. I saw you looking at me like that. I saw it. For anybody that sat near me during the conference, I think it was during Dr. Ania's presentation or her speaking, I wrote in big fat juicy letters in my notebook, obesity is a disease and it's not my fault. I know Michelle saw it over my shoulder. So I'm working on it, but yeah.
And that's huge. If you guys are just meeting Mayor Mindy for the first time, that's a huge step for her because, we've heard now for me, I've heard it now for 2 years. Obesity is a disease. It's not your fault. I just heard it for the first time, I think, on that Oprah special that was about 2.5 years ago. And we say it all the time on this channel. Obesity is a disease. It's not your fault. And Mindy would always say, is it my fault? Maybe it's a disease, but I think I did this to myself. Like, I ate all that food.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't I do that to myself? Well, guess what? Your obesity
you're not as in control.
Yeah, you're not as in control of your eating as you think you are. Your obesity is driving you. It's your biology. Okay. So if you have the disease of obesity drives you to overeat, drives you to snack without thinking about it, even if you're counting your calories. Well, maybe when you pass the pantry and grab a couple Ritz crackers, well, you're not writing those down. You're not tracking those, right? So we've all done that. And it's literally not our fault. And that's so and I had to say it probably 300 times before I could say it without tearing up. You know what I mean? Like that's an emotional thing to know that I've been battling this for my whole life and it's not my fault. Anyway,
I think a couple of the panelists did talk about the causes of obesity, meaning the different factors that contribute to it, right? Things like genetics, but also what was it called? The obesogenic environment that we live in.
Yes, obesogenic environment. So what did Dr. Ania say? Our environment moved faster than our biology, right? Our environment came at us with pollution and ultra processed foods and sedentary desk jobs and very high stress levels, pollution. I think I said pollution, but all those things, we can't really control all these outside things, let alone genetics, right? You're never going to beat your
It's like
genetics.
somebody should make a video about that.
So we talk a lot about it's not your fault, all that. One of the things that stood out for me was there was a lot of talk about, the shame that goes along with it. And I think it was Dr. Pashby who said, shame is not the author, you are. And I found that very, very powerful. Shame is not the author anymore, you are. And it really puts even though biology controls a lot of it, the mental health part we have to work on,
And I think to that, Michelle, the shame part, she was talking about how we all have felt maybe trying on a bathing suit
Yes.
or wearing a bathing suit to the beach, or I could never wear a 2-piece bathing suit because, oh my God, or I'm never going to wear sleeveless tops because look at these arms. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't wear sleeveless tops until about 10 years ago. And now I wear them all the time because it's hot and I don't care. So, it's kind of rewriting that story we've been telling ourselves, right? Oh, I can't wear horizontal stripes. I can't wear sleeves. I couldn't wear that.
That's
can't
all I
wear
wear.
white.
Mm-hmm. And now
Right?
Mindy has horizontal stripes on and Michelle only wears white.
Yep. And Lorraine is showing her arms. Yes.
Uh-huh.
I will tell you, I live in Florida where it's very hot, and I didn't wear sleeveless until this summer.
Wow.
I've been in Florida. I never wore a sleeveless. I could not wear a sleeveless in my mind. And this summer, maybe spring, when it started to get hot, I wore sleeveless, and I never have.
I mean, and that's such a mind shift, right? Like, we have to get over that shame or what and why. I mean,
it's a partial mind shift. I would still put on my sleeveless and look in the mirror and go, "Ooh, maybe I shouldn't wear this." So it's
All
still.
right. So, Dennis, do you want to read this one?
Vanessa Successa says, I'm really enjoying this panel discussion and hope you do a lot more like these. Well, thank you, Vanessa.
We love you, V.
Vanessa's our buddy.
So Vanessa was one of those people that she came on the very first cruise with us. I had never seen her name, never heard of her. She came out of the woodworks. And I think Dennis knows her history better than I do. I think she was a few weeks, maybe a few months at most.
Very early on. Yes.
Very early on in her success. She was back on the cruise this year looking fabulous and healthy and just happy and just we talk about the weight all the time, but I think the confidence and the poise and there's just something to be said about it. And Vanessa's I don't know. If you go back and watch the video I did where I interviewed everybody, Vanessa had an interesting quote about finding the right doctor, and she did. So thank you, Vanessa. We appreciate it. All right. You got more about the conference, or do you want to take some questions?
Anybody want to add any more conference stuff we haven't touched on?
Let's take some questions. I'm sure the conference will come up.
All right. Cool.
I'm sure it would. Let me get to a question point here. There's a lot of comments, as you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So if you put QQQ in, you have a better chance of it.
As Darium says, start it
Here
with
we go.
QQQ.
Let's go with Steve K273. It says, question, Virginia Health and many insurance companies are making GLP-1 coverage contingent on lifestyle nutrition training. I even heard the phrase intensive behavioral therapy. Thoughts? Well, that's a terrible phrase.
Well, that's what they used to do before they, that's what, anyway, I'll let other people.
I mean, we can take it as a policy question, and then we can take it as an emotional question. So as a policy, what they're trying to do is prevent people from actually using the insurance. to pay for GLP-1. So they want to put as many roadblocks as they can in front of you, that if you don't through all their hoops, you're not going to get the medications. They're trying to minimize their spend and their risk. Okay.
Yeah.
Which honestly, as a business policy, is atrocious and immoral, if you ask me. Now, believe what you will. That being said, if I worked for a company that was doing that, I'd probably try it, because maybe you get cheap meds and you have to do what you have to do, and that's unfortunate in this day and age.
Do any of y'all have companies with? Do any of y'all get GLP-1 medications through your employer's insurance?
I get it through my insurance, and they actually considered, I don't think it was this, but some type of monitoring, feeling that, and I think it can become misunderstanding that this is a disease.
Yes.
Because they feel like people start it, and because they get it cheap or free or $25, they start and stop it, and they're not really compliant with taking it. And I think that is more a lack of understanding that this is a disease, and people taking this, unless there's a reason medically they can't handle side effects, there's other things, people are sticking to it. I am in a company that does provide GLP. Many of us didn't know it, but as the word got out, more of us went on it. And it's actually a very supportive environment because of it. I know when I started, because I was very vocal about starting it, because someone told me, and I said to someone, I'm taking Zepbound, or however I said it at the time. All of a sudden, people, I'm on it too. Shh. Shh. I'm like, oh. And I didn't even consider it because I didn't know what it was. So I think we probably, if you compare health costs, of people who've lost the weight, since losing the weight, have not had an asthma attack since December of 2024. I was going to the doctor a lot for my asthma, because anytime I got a cold, it went right into it. So.
Very interesting. Yep. I mean, I think if I worked for an employer that put those hoops for me to jump through, you better know I would jump through them. You better know I would do I would encourage you to check every box. You get that medication, you do whatever it takes to get that medication covered, because that is gold, right? People are paying $200, $300, $500, $1,000 a month to be on these medications. And if, and employers don't understand, they understand costs, they understand balance sheets and profit and loss. So, and if you can get them, you do whatever you can do to get them.
It's an unfortunate reality that this has to be done, or they feel like it has to be done, because there's no other illness where they make you jump. Oh, you have a cold. Sorry. You have the flu. Sorry. No, you have to jump over this. It just doesn't happen.
No other disease. It's because it's viewed as, a lack of willpower, a lack of whatever. And I think those.
My company's insurance plan specifically excludes obesity medications and obesity treatments.
Mine too.
No bariatric procedures are covered. No obesity medicines are covered. And I work for a company that's in the medical field.
Scary. Next question from Deborah Kreischer, who says, how did you get the Dr. Ania interview? So excited about that interview. She's the queen. So basically,
long story. We don't have time.
Well, it's not. We do. After we went to the conference last year in Washington,
the OAC conference.
The same conference in Washington. We then set up the booth at the Obesity Week.
Obesity Week
in Atlanta, and the OAC people came by and saw the booth, and they were
downsized booth.
Our downsized booth, and they were like, "Hey, that's
OAC
really."
Also had a booth.
And our booth was a lot better than the OAC booth. No, just saying.
They're like, "How'd you guys do this?" And I'm like, "Meet Christopher Durham, man of all modalities."
Anyway, so I had reached out and said, "Hey, I'd love to do something similar there," and they said,
at the OAC conference.
And we worked through, and there was a contract, and basically we became the official podcast of the OAC conference, and they gave us a space. It was like a two-walled glassed-in room
with a door this time.
with a door, which was very nice. They gave us signage. I mean, right in the center of everything. So we were in a very prominent position.
Yeah.
We were told they were telling all the speakers to come do interviews. They didn't really do that, but whatever.
That's okay. I got them anyway.
But we had all the space and everything, so we could ask the speakers, and all the speakers that we asked were happy to come do it. And Dr. Ania was, although she seems like a rock star, and she certainly is on paper, in person, she's the nicest person you'll ever meet, I'm pretty sure.
Mhm.
So it didn't even phase her. She was fine with doing it, even at 9 o'clock at night, which blows my mind.
Yeah.
Well, and we were so excited to see her name just kind of randomly pop on the agenda for the OAC. It just kind of like, they just kind of dropped it on there like she was just some regular person.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I was
She didn't even have her own
didn't even have
presentation time. She was
No.
part of a panel.
You're not a panel. I
Yeah.
mean, I would have listened to her for hours by herself. But anyway, she was just so nice. And when and we have been announcing this conference, we partnered with the OAC and we've been announcing this conference. And I did her book as part of a video series a few months ago. You can go back and watch it if you want to, her book Enough. We all took our books, like all the downsizers, like took our books to the conference. Dr. Ania, will you sign my book? She signed all of our books. She was just such a lovely person. And I asked her when I fangirled and saw her in the hallway, I said, I'm interviewing the speakers in this room over here. I would love to interview you later. And she's like, yeah, of course. And yeah, let me check with the,
So
people. Make sure you're not
I'll give a
crazy
little behind the scenes. So right before we started recording the Dr. Ania interview, Lorraine says out loud, "I'm so nervous." And Dr. Ania turns to Lorraine and goes, "Why?" Because she's just it's that incredibly humble, right? That she does not perceive herself as any kind of celebrity, right? She will tell you she's just a doctor and researcher, and she's doing this for her patients, right? And she even told us at the end, she said, "I will not watch this
She will not,
because I don't watch myself."
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but-
those of you who have asked her questions
In
in the
the chat.
comments, I'm trying to tell you, unfortunately, she's not going to answer them.
Yeah.
And no offense to you,
see
she's
them,
just
but
yeah.
She would though if she met you in person, because she
Yes.
treats everybody that she interacted with like they are the most interesting person in the world. And everyone that she signed a book for, I think she gave a personal transcription, of the story that they told. She spent, even with some other Downsized members, I think she spent half hour, 45 minutes, because she was there for a couple of days after the interview. Just really an incredible person.
Some even longer.
Dare you.
Darium said, well, before we knew like she was going to sign her books, Darium goes, Lorraine, take my book. Make sure she signs my book. I said, absolutely, I got you. And so I'm waiting for her to come back for the interview because she's done speaking, right? But there was a line of like 30 people that lined up to talk to her. I'm like, well, she'll be back here shortly. She knows she's supposed to come back here. And I'm waiting. I'm like, she's not coming. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, I had to. So we were setting up the podcast studio. I actually had to come in to try and be like, okay, leave the nice lady alone. Like, let her move along now.
Well, then I said, Darium, because Darium's like a linebacker, right? I'm like, Darium, you gotta take her, we gotta muscle her through this crowd. So he was like, Dr. Ania, let's, he's in his just very calm, very
Right this way, please.
Right this way, Dr. Ania.
People loved it.
Yeah.
So
All right.
thank you, Darren.
Next question. Are we saying that obesity has nothing to do with the fact that we have all overeaten? I don't understand that it's not our fault and I'm obese. Well, so here's where it becomes interesting, because are we saying that it has nothing to do with the fact that we've all overeaten? No, of course not. Of course not. What we're telling you is that your biology, your genetics, your environment have created the disease of obesity. And many people come at it in many different ways. It's a complex, chronic, recurring disease. However you got there, it doesn't matter. You're there. Okay. And what is happening is your body is telling you, your fat cells at the fat cell level are saying, feed me. feed me, feed me. It's not a medical explanation. That's a Christopher Durham explanation.
Correct.
But that feed me
We're not doctors.
is louder than your full signal. And so it is compelling you to do it, whether you realize it or not. So yes, you're actually eating, but it's not about whether you decide to eat or not. It's about your biology and genetics driving you to eat. Beyond that, your body also is better designed to store the things you eat. So when people say calories in, calories out, they act like it's a simple equation, and it's not, because your body is ideally suited to store fat. And the number one thing it wants to do, unless you go into full starvation, is store fat.
There's a lot of hormones involved. We don't, if you want to get on to the medical side of it, number one, I would say read the book Enough by Dr. Ania Jastreboff and Oprah Winfrey. And it explains it in great detail. But we saw a list. Do you guys remember this list of hormones that are dysregulated by the disease of obesity?
Yeah.
There's ghrelin, there's leptin, there's GLP-1, there's DPP.
That was Dr. Tewksbury's talk on food noise.
On food noise, yeah. So when we have the disease of obesity, all these hormones are dysregulated in our body. Personally, I've always thought, the first time I heard about ghrelin, gremlin, it's driving you to eat. I always thought I must have had an overproduction of ghrelin, right? Because I'm always hungry, I'm always going to eat. And then leptin, I figured I didn't have enough of that either because I never felt full. Now, these are all things going on. It's a multifactorial complex chronic disease. So, we can talk about it in terms that we kind of understand, but there are medical, chemical, biological drivers in your body that your brain is trying to keep you alive, and your brain doesn't understand that you have more energy stored as fat than you possibly need. It's not getting that message. So it keeps driving you to eat because it keeps saying we need to store more food as fat. We need to store more. You don't have enough fat. It doesn't get the signal that you may be storing fat in your liver, in your stomach, in your back. Like, you have more fat than you need, but your brain doesn't know it because these hormones are not talking to each other the way that they should be.
And one of the things I thought was interesting that Dr. Ania said was, we all in the modern times think of fat as bad, but fat is energy, and our bodies are ideally designed to store it, to keep us alive. And I asked her specifically, will there ever be a cure for obesity? And she was like, well, probably not. Because if your fat ever stayed in an absolute constant stage, then you could not evolve. Women need to have more fat to get pregnant. Your body changes constantly, and that's part of the fluctuation of your body. So stopping that fluctuation would actually be bad for you. And I'm like, okay, this is blowing my mind.
It was literally a mechanism that evolved so that we could survive. And if it hadn't have evolved that way, right, we probably wouldn't be here. I think that was the point. But I mean, really just to answer this person's question, right, because I think, Mindy, this echoes what you said. And I think probably deep down, all of us feel this way, right? But I was the one that ate the food, right? So it must be my fault, right? But I think the way that it's being framed now, or the way that we're understanding it, is the volume has just been turned up so high for us, right? So think about putting a delicious plate of food in front of somebody with a normal appetite. They could probably have the ability to say, no, I'm not hungry right now, right? Or they would take a bite and they'd be satiated with that, right? But if the volume is cranked up so loud, it feels like you haven't eaten in days, how are you gonna turn down that food, right? Anybody who's starving or feels like they're starving would eat the food, right? So I think what it comes down to is, like we've said a couple times tonight, we're not as in control of it as we thought that we were, right? We think we're the ones choosing to eat that food, and I don't know that we're fully in control of it. I think we're very much driven by these hormones, right? And this one presenter that we were just referring to put up a couple of tables of data on the screen with, frankly, dozens of different hormones that really drive the behaviors that we're talking about.
I love this comment. I have the name for Michelle, Mindful Michelle.
Love it. Done.
I love it. Mindful Michelle. Yes. Yeah. Oh, I think Dr. Colleen Tewksbury, she mentioned she was talking about food noise, and she mentioned she had a patient. I wrote this down. He was on the seafood diet because every time he saw food, he wanted to eat
He ate
food. Right. So I think that's anyone who's heard that food noise. You see food, you want to eat the food. You're always thinking about the food.
Lorraine,
The real MVP. Yeah, go ahead.
before you do that, this next question, we talk about food noise, and we think everybody understands what that means. I was at a lunch today. There was like 4 of us there, and 2 of us were on GLP. One was very interested, someone who did not have the disease of obesity. They just were curious. And they're like, well, I have food noise. And I'm like, so we were describing food noise. She goes, yeah, when I'm hungry, I want to know what I'm going to eat. Oh, that's not food noise.
That's hunger. Eating,
You're thinking of the next thing you're going to eat, and so on and so on. I said, so much so, when, at least for me, I started the GLP and I was one of the ones that was affected pretty quickly. All of a sudden, something shut off in my head, like it went quiet. And she's like, what do you mean? And the other girl goes, oh, yeah, it's totally like I have space in my head now. And she's like, so all you did really was think about food? Like, people don't totally.
No, but it consumes so much of your mental capacity.
And
Well, they don't understand that disruptive piece of it. It's like messing up your life.
Yeah.
They don't.
I mean, Christopher, you talk about it all the time, right? The effort you'd put into making reservations or planning meals that you were going to prepare or whatnot, right? I think we all have stories like that.
Yeah.
Oh, Piggy's here.
We have a small super chat, so we will. Piggy
Wow.
will now get all of the stuff. Thank you, Piggy. Piggy, I love your picture.
Yep.
Piggy will get the dancing robot. Piggy will get the Arsenic or the what's his name?
Carlton.
Carlton.
Yeah. Thank you,
and the
Piggy,
dancer
for
Thank
your
you.
Oh, the
$99
dancing
super chat. Oh my gosh, I can't even speak. Absolutely love you did this panel tonight. Want to definitely see more like this. Great conversation tonight. Well, yes, thank you. And thank you, panelists. Right? I sent them a text. I said I figured one person would say yes or 2. And here they all are. They all said yes. So thanks, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, it was really great to be together at this conference and to be able to have these conversations. Yeah, I mean, we could go for days on each one of these speakers. I mean, there was just so much information.
Just to wrap up, maybe Dr. Tewksbury's topic about food noise. I remember after we stopped rolling, I asked her, what did she think GLP-1s have taught us about appetite? And her answer, which I loved, was essentially that we don't have control over it. Like it is not something that we're choosing.
Right. I wrote down from her talk, food noise is biology.
Yeah.
We are not.
We are really not in control of the amount of food that we consume. We're just not. I mean, we can write it down. We can try to limit it. I mean, I've been tracking my food for years, right? In an attempt to eat less. Did it ever work for me? I mean, I could lose 20, 30 pounds, lost 50 pounds one time, but then it always, my biology always said, nope, we want you at 186 to 200 pounds, Lorraine. We're going to, you congratulations on getting to 170, but now you're going to go right back up to 190. Nothing you can do about it.
Your body was defending that set point.
And we've all seen that, right? We've all lived that.
Doesn't it go back to overeating doesn't cause obesity? Obesity causes overeating.
Right.
Yeah.
Last year at the conference, we heard Dr. Kushner say that. He didn't come this year, but Dr. Kushner gave his lecture and he said, and I always have to stop and think about this because it doesn't make sense when you hear it in your mind, right? Obesity causes you to overeat. Overeating does not cause, you didn't overeat your way into obesity. Okay.
Yeah. And I think people that haven't had the disease, right, and they hear us say that, right, it sounds like something that we're saying, right? Like, oh, because, you want to feel like it's not your fault, right? But I think pretty much every panel we saw right, was reinforcing that fact, right, that we are not
Yes.
in control of this.
Well, so this will lead into this question. And so from the real MVP question, can you share what is the one biggest takeaway or the one thing you learned at the OAC that had the biggest impact on you? So I'll start kind of leading with what Dennis said. To me, it wasn't one little nugget. I mean, I read this stuff every day. To me, what the most truly exciting thing was, I knew there were smart people out there, but smart people are here. Many of the presenters, if not all of the presenters, were here.
Mm-hmm.
And they were professors at Yale and PhDs in exercise science. And these were just amazingly intelligent people who had dedicated their lives to changing the world and changing obesity. And they cared. And honestly, as a father of girls, most of them were women, and I thought that was cool.
Darian, what's your biggest takeaway?
My biggest takeaway was that obesity is the start of the conversation, not the end of the conversation. Sometimes we hear the word obesity, oh, just diet and exercise. No, diet and exercise is not a complete treatment plan, but it's the start of the conversation because there's so much more that goes with it.
Good. Fantastic. Mindy?
MVP, thank you for the question. You know I love you, girl. So I think the biggest thing I took away was hope. You know, seeing the young people having an opportunity that, you know, none of us had, to get things under control before some of that stigma and shame and blame and all of that sets in. Hope for more and different treatments that are on the horizon. Maybe that would be appropriate for some of us or some of your viewers, but also, and Christopher talks about this a lot, but hope that there will be a way for us to know which one of those treatments might be for me or you, or so understanding the varieties of obesity and the varieties of treatment and what treatments and what combinations of treatment would be appropriate. So hope.
Awesome. Hope.
And that's why you're the mayor.
Dennis, how about you?
I mean, it's really hard to boil it down to one takeaway, right? Because I think almost every panel, everyone walked away with like one memorable, repeatable phrase, right? Like the obesogenic environment or the well-treated obesity, or, you know, there are just so many of them. But I really have to echo what Mindy is saying, right? And I was definitely personally affected by Maggie's story and hearing Maggie's mom, right? And really then hearing from the kids. So on the last evening of the conference, right, it was kind of opened up to the floor, right? So anyone could raise their hand and they bring the microphone over to you. And people could really talk about what the experience had meant for them, right? And a lot of those Thrive kids raised their hands, and it was very emotional hearing them and hearing the impact that it had on them. And then, of course, seeing a story like Maggie's makes me really hopeful for the future.
Yeah, Maggie got us all thinking about that time in middle school where that schoolmate called us something or made fun of us, and yeah, we all went right back there. Yeah, for sure. How about you, Michelle?
So I think my peers already touched on a lot of the things. So I'm going to take it a little bit in a different direction, being mindful that I am. No, I think I left this conference thinking I still have work to do, but it's not necessarily the work I came in thinking I would have to do. It's work, you know, on, you know, continuing to improve yourself. What else do you need to do? And I think I also left this with community matters, right? Sometimes I would have never come to a conference like this ever. Dennis said he wished when he was in high school, you know, there was something like this, he would be involved. I would not have been involved.
Mm.
So I think that working on myself, continuing to go outside of my comfort zone. I think we all, the disease is one piece, the damage or the work we have to do is another. And I think that'll be what I truly take away and look at for myself.
The mental piece is the hardest, right? Because that stays with us even when the weight is gone, right? It's really hard to undo those years of shame and blame. And I love how you talked about, Michelle, you wouldn't have gone to this conference maybe years ago, but here you are now. And I will say that, Mindy and I were tearing it up on the dance floor. They had
Michelle was out there. I saw
and
Michelle
we got
out there.
Michelle on the dance floor, and she didn't
without a drink. Without a drink.
Right. And she didn't want to go out there at first, but and then you came out, and Mindy goes, we got Michelle on the dance floor, and I'm like, yeah.
If
So
it's a video, it didn't happen.
I might have some. I might have shot some. I might have had some video. I might have some video. But no, it's just, and it's that story we've been telling ourselves, right? Oh, I can't. Oh, I don't want to get, somebody will see me, and what will they think? And who cares, right? And who cares? Let's enjoy ourselves. Let's have fun. Nobody's. And what was it you said, Mindy? Nobody's watching you because.
So dance like nobody's watching, because guess what? They're not. They're too busy looking at their phone.
They're too busy looking at their phone. Oh, that was great. Yeah.
All right.
Fantastic.
So I'm going to close it because we're almost at 2 hours here. So we're going to close this out with one final question from Travis. And I will leave it with the panelists there.
What does the Downsized do for you? Any particular moment that stands out?
So I already answered Travis in the chat, so I'm going to read what I wrote.
Okay.
The Downsized gave me a roadmap for my journey. They've helped me navigate while finding friends and inspiration along the way. And they allowed me to meet you, Travis, and your lovely sister.
Aw. I love that, because Mindy is on, or was at one time, on every single GLP-1 channel in America, and some not in America.
True.
So I really appreciate that, Mindy. Thank you.
Yes. Love you all.
I think for me, when I found the Downsize, I was pretty new into my journey. It was shortly thereafter. And at that point, there was really two types. The fearmongers who, you're going to grow horns or whatever. And then I saw you all, and it was comforting because I didn't really know anyone on it. I had gone in, I wish I had found you before. A lot of these people find you before they go on. For me, I found you shortly thereafter. So I went through taking my first shot by myself, thinking I tell the story. I thought I was going to die. I went to sleep saying, I hope I wake up. And that's not a joke. I truly did. But then I saw you and I started getting educated. And so I think it brought me knowledge. It brought me community. It brought me comfort. And I think the particular moment that stands out is when I actually found you, watched you, and came back a second time. So for me, I think it's incredibly helpful. I don't know if I would have come off the medicine, but I sure know it made taking the medicine easier.
Oh, thank you, Michelle.
And I'll go before your son does. So
Okay.
when I found the Downsized, they were brand new, trying to figure it all out. But the thing that connected me was how much the shame, blame, and weight loss revolution touched them, and me watching the recap touched me, touching them. I said, oh, these are my people. So, and watching them and seeing how the things have grown and how they took me up, and I'm like going kicking and screaming, come on. But then I was like, oh God, I'm coming kicking and screaming. But then I saw this was empowerment. So they have empowered me to even know that my voice in this community has some merit, even in them seeing stuff in me that I didn't see in myself. So the message of hope, the message of not alone, and community is where I see a lot of with the Downsized. And the Downsized community has grown into a community of people. Everybody has a different perspective. We're not a lot of groupthink. Everybody has their own mindsets, and I love that.
Well, so Darian, we peer pressured Darian onto the camera last year at the OAC conference. Was that the first time you had been on a YouTube channel too, or no? Yeah,
Yes, that was
and
my
now
first
you've been
time.
on all kinds of stuff.
That was my first time.
Yeah.
Well, and can I just tell you, Darian, I know that you're naturally shy and maybe a little bit more reserved, and and sometimes the big group scene, the big group dinners and stuff maybe aren't your cup of tea. And so last year, you were the one who told us about the OAC conference and said, "Are y'all going to this? You need to go." And we're like, "What is it?" We're like, "All right, we'll go." And we met Darian, and Darian really didn't. He did all the sessions right up there. We sat right up in the front together, giggling and joking and taking notes and having the best time. But Darian, the big dinners and stuff really weren't his thing. But this year, I saw Darian at the Under the Sea party and dinner, and he had a shirt with some little fishes on it. We thought, well, maybe Darian won't. And then Darian was there. The second night was a more formal dinner, and they were talking about, they said, "Does anybody want to stand up and say anything?" So of course, Lorraine, raised her hand because I love a microphone, and Darian. I wasn't sure if Darian was in the room or not, because again, this is like 400 people. And I stood up and I said, last year, I'm Lorraine, I'm from the Downsized, whatever. Last year, one of our viewers, Darian, I said, "Where's Darian? Where's Darian?" He wasn't in the room.
No, Darian.
But I said, he's the one that told us about this conference. He's the one that brought us here. He's the reason why 100 of these people in this room are in here, is really because of Darian and his reaching out to us. So, Darian, I've just seen such amazing growth in you from last year to this year. Like, your Substack is taken off. You're on TikTok. Like, I just want to say, congratulations, because I think you're doing a really great job. And I hate to fangirl, but I'm fangirling a little bit because I just love Darian.
In the words of
Yeah,
Dr.
We all
Ania,
do.
in the words of Dr. Ania, why? Okay, I'm sorry.
All right.
But anyway, love you, Darian.
Dennis, what do you think?
Yeah. So here's what I would say. I think the Downsized is a journey, right? For all of us, right? And so for me, having gone from finding the channel when I was losing, right? At that point, what I needed from the Downsized was the facts and the guidance and the when do I titrate, and then right, very much, I was a baby in that journey. I came in not knowing anything, and the Downsized absolutely provided that, right? But then as you maybe reach maintenance, right? Or as you go through those non-scale victories when you're losing, right? It's about the community, right? So the Downsized community is second to none, right? There's no better community out there for this space. And every time that I would share in the chat or on the Facebook group, new non-scale victory, the extra strap on the airplane, right? Or being able to fit on a ride at Disney World, right? Which everyone knows is very important to me. The community was more than supportive, right? But now I'm in maintenance, right? So I don't need the facts. I don't have a new non-scale victory, but I have friends that I'll have for a lifetime now, and a YouTube mom. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Dennis. When I first met Dennis, on the Downsized cruise last year, and you know how some people you just meet and you're just like, I feel like I've known you for my whole life. And Dennis was like, yeah. So I decided Dennis was, in another life, I was his mom or his sister or his, I don't know, something.
You're technically not old enough to be my mom, but I'll call you my YouTube mom anyway.
Yeah. Thank you, Dennis. But yeah, just instantly connect. And same with Mindy and with Michelle too. I mean, Mindy's Mindy's been to our house. She did our Thanksgiving special. Remember that
Yeah,
we did that
let's
first
do that
year?
again.
Mindy, actually, I think Mindy gave me this cup. Like,
I did.
and Michelle, we met Michelle last year at the meetup in Orlando, and she, had some questions with me, and we really kind of worked through some of things that were going on with her. And, we got to the OAC this year, and she was the first person we met up with. And it's just really nice to have such a amazing community of people that, but for this channel, I would have never met. Maybe some of them would have not met each other even. And I look at the people and the connections that they've made and the friends that they've made through this channel, and I just love it. So thank you guys for being a part of it.
Well, so it's interesting. The last night of the conference, we were in the hotel bar, kind of a bunch of people hanging out, and the VP of Kylera Therapeutics, which is a smaller pharmaceutical company that's building out GLP-1s. They used to be at Novo Nordisk. So she was on one of the original GLP-1 teams, and I are talking, and she goes, well, these medicines are going to change the world. I said, no, you're missing the point. The medicines aren't going to change the world. The people who the medicines change are going to change the world. She said immediately and grabbed my phone, and she said, I'm going to text this to you because you just said the best thing of the conference. But it's you guys that are changing the world. It's not us. It's not the medicine. It's you guys. So we appreciate it. All right. So who's coming on the cruise out there? August 1st, we announce officially. If you are a Club Downsized member, you have access to the cruise right now. And you have first pick. And there's already, how many people have registered?
68.
68. So theoretically, we're capping this at 100. Maybe we have to go over 100. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I said 100. I said 100 thinking it was an absurd number, so who knows? But if you're a Club Downsized member, I would go ahead and take care of that. If you want to come, we would love to have you. And then August 1st, it will open for the rest of the world. It will be available as of, I guess, 11:50 or 12:01.
Whenever you post it on
the night before
downsized.org.
on the downsized.org.
Yeah, you go to the downsized.org and click on the cruise tab, and as soon as Mr. Durham gets his
the page is ready, I just have to make it live.
Mr. Durham does web pages, he does video editing, he does conference booth setup, he does t-shirt and sticker design. He does
whatever needs to be done. Whatever needs to be done.
Yeah, somebody in the comments said you really need to get some better sound people. I'm like, I guess my review's not going to be good for this time.
Yeah.
Somebody said they need the dates. Yeah, no. That's what they're waiting on. I don't recall.
I know.
Can we leak the dates?
They're going to have to
wait. You didn't give the dates? Oh, you didn't give the dates out? I didn't realize that.
It will be June.
Wait,
it will be
spoiler. It's in June.
It's June. I said June. June 2027. It's June 14th through 18th.
Mid-June.
I'll just say June 14th through 18th. Spoiler.
There it is. There it is. Exclusive.
If you made it through 2 hours of this, you know now.
You deserve to know.
Yeah.
Right?
And I see a couple of people saying that they would need a roommate. I would tell you that I went on the first Downsized cruise by myself, right? And it's a great thing that I did, right? Because I made a lot of friends that maybe I wouldn't even have made if I had gone with other people, right? So it was definitely a good experience.
Dennis made some friends at the first Downsized cruise, and now they go on cruises together, right? Disney World and Downsized cruises and other cruises. And I mean, that's just, I think that's just fantastic. So
all right.
That's awesome. All right.
Well, very good. Well, thank you all for joining this. A lot of people have said they'd like to see that something like this be a regular occurrence. A couple of people said they can't afford it. Here's what I would tell you if you can't afford the cruise. First of all, I don't know your situation, so I'm not telling you can. But if you think you possibly could, reach out to the travel agent, because you can make payments on it if you wanted to. And it's not a cheap vacation. We will not pretend that, but it's not as expensive as you would think. And it's pretty much all inclusive. So it is, I'm not going to pretend it's cheap, but it is a good value, we'll say.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right. So wait for that on August 1st. We'll release a video talking about it as well. A cruise focused video.
Like and subscribe to the Downsized.
That's right. There's 312 of you out there and 304 likes. Thank you very much. We appreciate you being a part of what we're doing. We're closing in on 60,000 subscribers now, I think. Probably in the next few days.
Do at 100. You have to do something special at 100.
Something special. I don't know.
That's so far away. That's
Well, I was asking ChatGPT to do analytics, and it said, I am increasingly excited that you will get it before the end of the year. So who knows?
I agree.
Who knows what the AI thinks?
Rich will help that.
But stay tuned. There's several meetups that are going to be happening, so there'll be more on the website about that as well. And if we get to 100,000, we'll do something big, probably in person somewhere, somehow.
Well, and we've kind of been talking about the fact that the OAC conference was fantastic. But we'd really like to see a conference dedicated to GLP-1 users specifically, because that's us, right? That's our channel. That's us. There's a lot of us, and the OAC has got their thing, kind of overarching obesity. But would you come to a 2-day conference just to learn about GLP-1s and hear maybe doctors and patients talk on a stage? Maybe.
Yeah, I think we could get a lot of cool vendors too. Get some of the app vendors and the tech vendors, the wearables and the
body pod.
You could get all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah. So I don't know. So
they're all saying yes.
Yeah. So we're it's something that we're working on. Oh, there's Gina. Oh, hey Gina. Hey Gina. Anchor Moments, Gina. Yep. So well, anyway, I could go on for days, but it was good. It was so good to see everybody. Ma'am, this is a Wendy's, right, Darian? Ma'am.
This is a Wendy's.
Ma'am, this is a Wendy's. Thank you.
All
okay,
right.
we're gonna cut it off. I think now
Very
we could
good.
go on all night. We got to cut it off.
Well, thank you very
It's early, guys. No.
Thank you very much for joining us all. We'll be back same bat time, same bat station next week. Wednesday at 6.
No, 6. No, 7.
7. Yeah,
It's so hard to get good help around here.
It is. It's not gonna look good on my review. Wednesday at 7.
Wednesday at 7. Yeah,
right.
we're generally here live Wednesdays at 7, and you never know who might pop on to our lives.
All right. So do we all want to do this? Thank you very much for being a part of the Downsized Live. My name is Christopher Durham, and
I'm Mindy.
Mindy,
Dennis,
Michelle.
My name's Michelle.
Lorraine, what are you doing?
And we are the
And
Downsized.
Darian, did you say Darian?
Darian was
Yeah.
first.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, and we are the Downsized. Have a
Thanks,
good
guys.
evening.
Thank
Bye.
you. Good night.
thank you.
Bye, everybody.